C.J. Stroud, phenom rookie quarterback going to second year from Houston Texans, played at Ohio State, says that if Matthew Stafford played in Green Bay instead of Detroit, that he would have more rings than Aaron Rodgers. He would have had a couple or a few championships. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist, MC North playlist. And we, look here, man. I think a lot of people from the outside looking in, and even some people on the inside, watching with the Lions, know that ain't true. Matthew Stafford just wasn't a winner. You know what I'm saying? He had numerous chances to advance him in the playoffs. It was a narrative. The Lions didn't do much around him and do enough around him. I don't watch quarterbacks with less advance, in the NFL. And, the time he could have, what he could have made, clinched the division or made the playoffs going against Matt Flynn, lost that one, New Orleans Saints. They handed that game to the Lions. Still couldn't find a way to win it. Lions literally dropped 20 interceptions in that game. All right, the one, playoff win Kirk Cousins got, guess who was from? Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Okay? The Dallas Cowboy game, he hurt his hand, and that was a game they should have ran away with. Even with him winning the Super Bowl, had Ja'Carrius Tart caught that interception, even with a super team, they shouldn't even have won the Super Bowl. If Ja'Carrius Tart don't drop that interception in the NFC Championship game, they don't make it. So, but I will say, right now, the brand of football that Stafford's playing in L.A., this is the best I've seen Stafford looking his whole career. This Stafford, the way he looking and confident, it seemed like everything coming together. He slimmed down, got in shape, and all that type of stuff. He looks really, really good. And it's going to be an uphill battle because the Rams are in the transition there. Donald done walked away. Cooper Kupp kind of beat up. So, they just trying to reload on the fly, which they seem to be doing a great job of, but I can't say that. I can't say he would have won a couple championships. He ain't no winner. He ain't no big playoff time performer neither. Aaron Rodgers had a moment. Now, he had a great time versus the Lions last year in the playoffs, but then again, we knew our secondary was beat up, and it wasn't that good. So this is what we do. He didn't beat no world beaters or nothing like that. So I can't agree. He was fluky. And on this time that and that's why they talk about numbers and stuff. They talk about numbers and statistics and all that type of shit, man. I don't read too much in it. You look at Justin Jefferson and CD Lamb statistics and you think they close. Nowhere near close on the spectrum. In my opinion, Justin Jefferson is by far, not even gonna say by far, but compared to CD Lamb, he's way better. He's the best receiver in the football. Not just looking at stats. I'm looking at what he's doing. In a little bit of time last year, what he's doing, he's the best football player. He's the best receiver in football. Tyreek might be right there with him, but I'd rather have Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, Jamar Chase, when you start talking about like tier 2 guys, St. Brown, AJ Brown, guys like that, I can't really think of nobody else. I don't even look at CD Lamb as a tier 2 guy. I look at him as a tier 3 guy. Don't think he that good. I watch him play and he thrives versus bad secondaries. When it's time to show up versus big game, when he struggle on the outside, they just move him to the slot. And at 6'3", I just don't think he that good. I think you can draft a receiver and get similar production. I wouldn't pay him. Are you insane? I paid Michael Parsons before I pay him. But nonetheless, I was using that as an example. And a lot of Matthew Stafford stats came when the game was out of reach, and then it looked like it was in reach because they came back on teams in Detroit. That's what he was about. Now, did Detroit play a part in that, but not surrounding him with competent coaches and talent sometimes? Yeah, and at times he had great talent around him. He had Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson, Reggie Bush, Joy Bell. They had good top 3 defenses. They had offensive weapons. He couldn't get it done. What Jared Goff had last year, he's had that in the past. Maybe not. I can't really say about the offensive line, but he's had good teams in the past. That team that played Dallas, that was a top 3 defense. And you had Golden Tate, and you had Calvin Johnson, and you had some running backs in there with Reggie Bush and Joy Bell had a hell of a season. They tapered off at the end of the season. So to turn around and act like he didn't have help and he didn't have good teams and good players around him, that's bullshit. When it came down to win a lot of those games, if it boiled down to him not being able to get it done. And on the outside looking in, you looking at the product now with Matthew. You're looking at, oh man, if this Matthew was in, that's not the Matthew that was in Detroit 10, 12, 5, 3, 4, whatever seasons ago. That's not him. That's not him. He was in Detroit, he was fluky. He was fluky. You know, he wasn't winning the big games, and he was choking and shit, and, you know, making, you know, like I said, he still have his little moments, and that's going to be with it, but nah. There's a difference in talent between Aaron Rodgers and Matthew. It's a huge gap in talent. It's a huge gap in talent. You know, am I a Rodgers fan? Yeah, outside of the other crazy shit he be talking about as a player, yeah. I like Rodgers a hell of a lot more than I like Matthew Stafford. That talent, you know, the way he throw the ball, you like the way he zip it and all that. But Aaron Rodgers is a transcending talent. He uplifts a franchise. You got to remember the team that Stafford went to the Super Bowl with, that might have about 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on that fucking team. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald. That's just 4. Cooper Kupp could go down. That's 5. You know, they had guys like Leonard Floyd, Odell Beckham Jr. You know what I'm saying? They had a hell of a 5 squad. Then they had a safety from, I could be wrong, but then they had a safety from Baltimore who played out there in L.A., Eric Waddle. Was he on that team? I could be wrong about that. I'm probably wrong about that. That was a hell of a 5 super team. They was some soldiers. That was a super duper team. That shit crazy. People acting like he just carried them on to the Super Bowl. Bull sniff. Bull sniff. So no, I don't agree with his synopsis. Him and Michael Parsons say some of the darndest things out here. I will say that. Him and Michael say some of the darndest things. What's that show, kids? Remember that show when we was little? Depending on your age group. Kids say the darndest things. They say the darndest things on their podcast and they show what is entertaining. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm a huge CJ Stroud fan. You know, not when he was at the University of Ohio State. No. But in the league, fire. I wish him nothing but the best, but I disagree with that opinion. I mean, wasn't he in Pampers when Matthew Stafford started in Detroit? Cause that's what, 09? 010? 09? What is it about? Yeah, about Stafford got here with 09. Cause we were 16, 08. So that's what, 10? 14, man? They were like 6, 7 years old, 8 years old. It's crazy, man. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, the subscribe button. This is the bell icon button. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Hit the link tree. You can find me on X, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Peace.